What's up, everybody? This is Vincent Sung, the Wandering Warrior. Today I'm with Max Khaihra, and we're going to talk to you guys about Jinwoo. So, Max, you've been part of this Jinwoo Athletic Association since how long? Since when?
Since 2004, 2005. I'll actually have to double check my coach, Alistair Monteith. He runs the British Institute for Chinese Martial Arts in London, along with Andrew Harris, who's my senior. And yeah, very strong club, obviously. I'm going to back them because, it's our lineage.
You got it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I got into it through, I was already into martial arts, so my family, they were big practices of karate. So my sister and my dad were into it. I went along with it up till I was about 13, and I started looking into different types of martial arts. I looked into Southern Chinese martial arts. There happened to be a club kind of nearby. We used to go to like the local Chinatown and kind of practice there for a little bit, most Sundays. And then Alistair opened up a club nearer to my house, and I was straight there pretty much, and the rest is history. He had a full-time centre in Wembley, which we still have one there. So if you're interested in the London area, Wembley, British Institute for Chinese Martial Arts, look them up. And I started training there a lot more, and then I was pretty much there all the time, and then we talked about me becoming an assistant coach and a full-time coach, and then I moved over here and set up Boston Chinwoo.
Boston Chinwoo. So, this organization's been through a whole series of world events, right? When it first started, it was a young, new Chinese republic. They're like, oh, we got to save the Chinese martial arts. We've got to consolidate them, and this is a way to make Chinese people fit and nationalistic, and also ideally, towards the end of the road of their journey there, be able to fight and do all this cool stuff. It's been through a lot of changes. China's been through a lot of changes. The world of martial arts has been through a lot of changes. What does Jinwoo mean to you today?
To me today, it's about personal growth, I think. So whether that's on and off the mats, it's finding your way, or whether that be through, Taolu, stand-up. Mainly it's those two at the moment. But if you look back, obviously, a little bit about the history, they were in lots of different disciplines, and I think that's kind of disappeared a little bit more, and more so nowadays we just focus on that martial arts side. But yeah, martial arts is a great tool for self-development. Whether it's Sanda or Taolu, you find a lot about yourself. Through the training, whether it's hard, difficult, you have good days, bad days, you still show up, do all this stuff, and the way you do your training should hopefully transfer positively into how you live your life, right? So that's what it means to me.
That's really cool stuff, and I think anytime you do martial arts beyond just like a survival level, self-defense, so on and so forth, or just making money as a prize fighter, once you get beyond a certain point, you're like, well, what does this mean in my life? Why am I constantly putting myself through the grind? Why am I constantly being kicked, punched, thrown, whatever? What is all this for? And I think for most people, ultimately, it comes towards something like personal improvement, growth, self-actualization, all that kind of good stuff, right? On that note, how do you feel Jinwoo has stayed the course? How do you feel it may have improved? How do you feel like it started to miss the mark? And what's your vision for the future?
Good question. Okay, so let's start with what I would like to try and do with Boston Chinwoo. So I would like it to be eventually for everyone, a community sort of, whether it's through martial arts, through just social events as well. I think some of the most interesting conversations I always have with people are always after training, hanging out with each other. Sometimes we'll go out for food, get together, all of that stuff. Food's very important, especially when you're training, right?
No doubt.
Exactly. So yeah, that would be kind of the vision for Boston Chinwoo, and then also, you know, creating very good athletes, whether that be in Sanda, Taolu, hopefully Jiao as well.
Yeah, we're working on that. We are hopefully in the future collaborating on making sure that at least Boston Chinwoo will have a strong Shuai program.
And also into whatever branch of martial arts they want to do as well. So I think it's also important to teach good boxing fundamentals, good kickboxing fundamentals. So if they want to go into any kind of kicking, punching arts, they've got a strong base to lead from. You know, so even if it means that I go, okay, you go do that, whatever your goal is, you start with me. You might have to go to another coach to pursue that dream, pursue that goal. I can at least give them a boost or help them out in any way possible. You know, even through personal training, strength coaching, you know, sort of like what we've been doing together as well. Getting you stronger, bringing up your weaknesses in your body, and giving you the best opportunity to perform at the top level.
And what would you say are certain strong points and weak points about how Chinwoo is today, and ways that you would like to be a good example for the future?
So I would like to see the Chinwoo community kind of learn from other sources of martial arts as well, and be a little bit more open with each other. Whether that's in, you know, Sanda, Taolu. Also, there's lots of different lineages, and people have like different flavors of Taolu. I think people sometimes can focus on that, and it gets kind of a little bit lost. And some people are like, this is this way, it's this way. It's like there's lots of different ways to perform these Taolu. We shouldn't focus just on how it looks. So I think that I'd like to see more people competing and just promoting it, really. You know, whether that be in Taolu, in Sanda, just get out. Even if you don't think you're going to do amazing, like, you should still be going out there and trying to push yourself. You know, I think that's good for personal growth, and also it gives you a goal as well. Like some people can train and just like not go to competitions or anything like that, but it definitely like elevates you to like maybe just like break through that next barrier, whether it's like physical, mental. I'd like to see more people competing because and putting it out there as well, because this stuff is all very good stuff, regardless of like the traditional stuff or people think it looks strange. We know it's good. We should be putting it out there.
All right, last one. Why shouldn't I just join an MMA gym? Why should I do Chinwoo? What does Chinwoo offer that an MMA gym doesn't?
When you're like 40, do you still want to be getting punched and kicked in the face? That's.
I might, but
yeah, that's true. That's the wrong person, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's lots of different avenues you can take, you know, in Jiao. So you can go through the Taolu stuff, and that's not just Northern Shaolin Kung Fu. It's quite depending on who your coach is, right? Depending what Taolus they've learned, what systems they've inherited, and it might not be directly Jiao stuff, like some of the Tai Chi stuff, some of the Bagua. There's lots of Singyi guys as well. There's lots of different things you can learn, and keep practicing and keep moving, and learning about your body awareness. You know, hopefully all the way up until we pass on, right?
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, martial arts becomes their identity as well. So, especially for MMA guys, or, you know, like, there's going to be a point where you probably don't want to train as much, or your training might change differently. You might start looking for like yoga-y stuff to do to kind of promote yourself, and help the recovery process. I think doing like the Taolu, the forms, it has a good carryover as well in terms of recovery.
Yeah, for sure. I felt, early on when I first started, when I was 16, there were some Jingwu forms I learned as part of my Mantis boxing background. And in Taongshin, these forms were just treated as forms to supposedly build up your body a certain way. And that stuff was, honestly, for me, it was boring. But looking back, it did build up my body a certain way. I was able to pick up a lot of combative movement so much easier because either I'd already done it in the Taolu or because my body was already used to taking on different frames, different shapes athletically in a way that makes sense. So I wasn't hurting myself and suddenly dropping the stance or taking a weird angle and suddenly busting a knee or an ankle because my body's already primed for these types of movements. It brings you through a lot of ranges of motion that just doing say boxing or kickboxing drills doesn't necessarily prime you for, right? So honestly, I think there's a lot in the calisthenics and Taolu that was super valuable. That I wouldn't have those benefits if I didn't do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any closing statements?
No, not really. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. Enjoyed talking to you, and yeah, guys. If you're interested in learning, hit me up. I'm Boston Chinwoo.
I'll put all the links down below.
Also, check out. There is a world directory as well. So have a look in your city, in your country. There should be a few locations. Obviously, I don't know them off by heart, but have a look around, see what it's about if you liked it. That's it really, man.
All right, sounds good, guys. Now you guys know a little bit about Jingwu and where a lot of our modern understanding of Chinese boxing, traditional Chinese boxing, especially from northern China, where a lot of that came from in terms of being disseminated, as well as our understanding of it. A lot of that's thanks to Jingwu. That said, stay tuned for more Shuai Jiao and Gongfu content. Thank you guys for joining me on my journey. Hasta luego.